Hey everyone, welcome to another video of Flight Simulator 2020. In today's video I'd like to perform an RNAV approach using the A320neo. For the arrival airport, select San Francisco International, that's Kilo Sierra Foxtrot Oscar, SFO. And we'll be doing RNAV GPS, in brackets, runway 100 left, approach. So what's different about the RNAV GPS is that compared to the ILS's, the VORs, actually no, compared to the ILS, the RNAV is considered as a non-precision approach, although we're going to use a phase, what we call LPV, which is quite similar to an ILS, but somewhat still considered as a non-precision regardless. But anyway, just to give you an idea about RNAV, it's just a method of navigation which permits the operation of the aircraft on any desired flight path. What it means by that is that you can just do any approach without the need of any ground navigation aids, like a localizer or VOR VORTAC station. That's pretty much is like an alternative if you ever need to do an approach to an airport that has a, for example, a localizer and a VORTAC station that needs to be in service. An RNAV could be one option, or it'll be the best option, if I must say. Now, to give you an idea in the head, the Airbus A320neo in this simulator has so many flaws and misconceptions. Around like 60% of it might be incorrect and 40% might be alright. But especially for this RNAV, there's a lot of things that I've discovered were quite off compared to real-time flying on the Airbus. Later I'll point out what I'm trying to refer to in the misconception in this simulator, especially for the Airbus. But before I head into that, I want to do a quick brief with you guys on the approach that we're doing. So once again, it's SFO 100 left, the RNAV GPS approach. That's San Francisco, California, obviously. So we're going to do a GPS, so it's a WAAS channel 58015, Whiskey 100 Alpha. That's basically the database. And then our approach course will be a 194, runway length 8,650, touchdown zone elevation 11, and approach airport elevation is 13. And then you're gonna notice there's a little note that says RMP approach, and then below is your little notice for you to be aware of if there's any changes required and it needs to be done by you, the pilot command. And we're gonna move on. This runway has a MLZF. And then this approach has climb to 500 and climbing left turn to 3000 direct Dumba and hold from there. ADIS, NORCAL approach control, San Francisco Tower, ground control, clearance delivery, and CBDLC.
Listen, 1123 contact NORCAL approach on 135.65.
We're going to do the LPV approach. It says DA, however this approach this is not a precision approach, it's still a non-precision, so hypothetically it's MDA, then precision altitude. So the height is 293 feet. That could be at my lowest. For me, around 293 I should have the runway in sight. If not, I'll just go missed, do the MAP approach, as we discussed earlier. So right now we're just gonna configure the aircraft, make sure I slow it down to green dot, and also to mind you, if you guys didn't notice, I'm using the latest mod, fly-by-wire version 0.4, if I'm not mistaken, 0.4. And so far so good. I believe the guys did a great job modifying the aircraft to make it as real as possible, or pay where relevant. So I'm actually looking forward to more future updates with them. So we're actually
NorCal departure.
5 miles from
1123,
Berks. Once we
5,000
cross over Berks, we can descend down to 2,800 feet.
Listen, 1123
That's the final
normal
approach
departure.
fix.
Continue to Berks as planned.
And at which we should be able to capture the what we call magenta brick. I'll show you momentarily, in which the aircraft will follow it down. Alright, I'll start my landing configuration. We'll put down the flaps, number 2. Land gear down. Spoilers are good to go. Runway, make sure the lights are on. Out a third notch of flaps. And then lastly, final flaps for full configuration. Just gonna ding the bell and give them an idea they're set for landing. Now Shike is our final approach fix. Around that point, the aircraft should be able to capture well, like I said, the magenta brick. That'll take us downwards. The pink brick I'm referring to is the vertical guidance. It'll descend with it once it captures. It's like an ILS, but it's not an ILS. It's an LPV or nav approach. So that's quite the difference. So right now I'm just gonna make sure I'm all set. Full configuration, low auto brake.
San Francisco Tower using 112.11 miles.
Now this is the misconception I want to talk to you about. If you look to your left, you're gonna see a screenshot, not a screenshot, like a picture sample of what it should look like. The top portion, final approach is where what it should be shown once I'm across the final approach fix. And then you're gonna notice V/dev, vertical deviation. That should appear on the top right part of the, actually, I'll see top left part of the vertical tape. However, it does not. Maybe that's the issue. That's the flaw I'm referring to. And also a pink brick or magenta brick, like I said, should be right there for the aircraft follow. Now, however, in this simulator, in order to me to find that magenta brick, I have to click on the LS, which is not how it works in real life. Now, in reality, really, if you actually press the LS button, that V/dev vertical deviation sign, it will flash at you, telling you what the plane's trying to tell you is that you did something incorrect, and you should fix that immediately. That's why it's flashing at you. The V/dev vertical deviation sign is flashing at you, telling you, don't do that. You're not doing ILS. You're doing RNAV. So, like I said, if you keep it in this simulator, if you press the LS, you'll get the magenta brick, as you can see right in front of us.
Speed 1123, clear to land runway 19 left. Wind calm.
I mean, the simulator, it's got the right stuff. It just needs more. It needs to work on some gaps and bugs that needs attention. I mean, this is one of it. And hopefully the mods for the fly-by-wire team can probably fix this as soon as possible. It might take time, but patience. I have patience for that. As long as they're actually doing it correctly, which they are. Obviously, I'm not questioning them or anything. But anyway, back to the approach. So as you see, I turned off the autopilot. I'm the one flying the aircraft now. I'm just gonna descend like less than 900 feet per minute. Magenta brick centered. Alright. Now 293 is our minimum. Obviously there are runways in front of us, but around that altitude you should have the runway in sight, or else you have to go missed. Land. Okay, so it's 300, runway is in sight, continue of course, and then now we're going visual. And go for the aiming marks, that's the white squares.
100, 60, 50.
Pull back on the thrust once at 20.
20. Retard. 5.
Spoil his arm, reverse green decel. We're decelerating as it is. $70 knots. And we're gonna turn on this right taxiway.
Houston 123, turn next taxiway. Houston 1123, contact ground on ONE 21.8.
121.8, Fusion 112
Alright, flap 0, park it. Now we're good to go. So yeah, this is how you perform an RNAV, barely, on the simulator. But like I said, you already identified the misconception and the flaws and errors that this simulator is pretty much doing. But I try my best to find a way to make it as close to the real flying in the Airbus. I mean, you can still do an RNAV, you just gotta do it the wrong. You have to do it the wrong way, which is you press the LS just to follow the magenta brick. Nothing's different to it. It's just basically an ILS minus it considered as a precision approach, of course. So hopefully future updates, Microsoft or the fly-by-wire team will work on that issue. So anyways, if you guys found this video very informative and helpful, then please consider liking, and if you're not currently subscribed, then please consider subscribing for more future videos. And I'll be seeing you guys in the next video.